All right. Hey, everybody. So this is going to be really fun. We're joined by Noel from Ireland, everybody. This is crazy. So, hey, how are you, Noel? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, how are you? Hello to everyone. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. I think everyone's, in their mind here in the United States always wants to go to Ireland at least one point. It's very romantic seeming. Where in Ireland do you live?
Well, I live right in the middle of Ireland, right in a place called Tullamore, where the whiskey is made, Tullamore Dew. So
Ooh,
I live in that town, and it's really the absolute dead center of Ireland. So
oh,
yeah, we can get to most places in Ireland within east to west. We can get most places in Ireland in about an hour and a half, and then north
okay.
to south maybe 2 hours.
That's fascinating. I cannot wait to make it there. So I guess I take it you're born and raised Irish boy.
Yep, that's
Okay.
that's the case. Yeah,
Awesome. So I know, of course, you're a paraplegic, right?
yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So why don't we talk just about how your injury happened and stuff? We all have our stories, so yeah, if you
Yeah.
don't mind sharing.
Yeah, so I'm T6, T7, so
Mhm,
roughly around about chest height.
mhm.
And I actually was mountain biking when I had my accident.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was coming down a hill, and a tree jumped out in front of me, and I hit the tree and fell in on some rocks, and
Oh no.
it was pretty instantaneous as well. So I mean,
Mhm.
uh, I think though, because I was into those kinds of sports, I
Okay.
would be of the belief, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So it's you gotta, and for me, having an injury, well, it was sort of one of those things a lot of people get devastated by.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like I knew the risk, and I had to accept, and then just get on with things, and that's it. So
That's true, isn't that? I feel a lot of people, they're like, I can't mope around. There's no point in doing it.
yeah,
Life is too short.
yeah, that's the truth. Yeah.
How long ago was your accident?
It will be 16 years this August.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so it's it's yeah, it's a good while, but like um, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I mean, it's when I think about it, actually, it's not as long as that. Is it 15, 16 years? Sometimes I forget. Yeah, it feels about that long. Yeah,
Yeah. So it goes by quickly, doesn't it?
yeah, very quickly, especially when you try to get busy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
which is not the easiest thing because it's all relative too, right? I mean, there's a lot of people I know that are not in the disabled community and who
No.
are not motivated. And then I know lots of people who are disabled who are just some of the most motivated, uh, do everything go getters I know. So,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, some people don't handle it good at all, and they don't leave their houses, and they hate everything, and some people are like,
Mm,
"Absolutely not. I'm not gonna let this take my life away." And
yeah.
it's really fascinating the way humans can deal with this, because I always say paralysis is one of the hardest things. I mean, I don't know if I have no perspective on it, but I do believe it's like you're reborn in a new body, and you have to kind of
Yeah.
decide if I'm going to live like this or not. I know in
Yeah.
Ireland, just out of curiosity, because I've never been there, what's it like as a disabled person over there in terms of just going out and about? Is it pretty easy to live your life as a wheelchair user?
Um, it's better than some places, but it's worse than others. But
Mhm.
I've been very active in the area of trying to get things done from an accessibility point of view in my own town.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
I've
huge.
done things around where I've created devices that I could mount on my wheelchair and detect the vibration and impact on my chair,
Cool.
so I could show where there was problems and public liability issues. Because if we can gather data, you
Yeah,
can make a big difference to how local authorities or cities or municipal governments react.
cool.
If you go and whinge and moan to them, they don't care. They'll just go, it's on file, or we.
Hmm.
But I think that we have a unique um, perspective on what the built environment is like. And as a designer myself, I always think about, you know, we have the capability to do something about the built environment because
Yeah,
we built the built environment, right?
yeah.
It's just the data points need to be there for people to react. If you think about a guy with who's perfectly able-bodied, who's actually doing the construction, is not taking into account maybe
Mhm.
the issues a disabled person might have with a 10 millimeter
Right.
path difference.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking about is like all of those things make a difference, and can we do something about it? So I actively try to make a different. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to go and try and figure out how to solve the problem and show people the information they need to be able to make sure that it doesn't happen in future.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah, it's important.
So you're a designer. Are you like an architect? Like what kind of designer? Sorry, I should.
So actually, I'm an industrial designer, so product
Okay.
design. Anything
Oh,
that you can think of, that's the kind of
cool.
work that I do. Yeah, and
That's awesome.
yeah, I don't know. It's a bit crazy as well, like because there's a lot of rubbish, right? So like you see lots of industrial design that is like just making things to sell, whereas I sort of try to err more towards impactful things, right? Things that make a difference in people's lives. Um,
Have you heard of Michael Graves before?
yeah, Michael Graves. Yeah, is he a architect or
He
is he product?
designed he became paralyzed and he worked for Target after his injury and designed
Right.
all these really cool like smart household gadgets and stuff that
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
to be for everybody, but they were really usable for people that,
yeah.
were also disabled, which was cool.
We
So
see that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, that's my argument when I talk to people. I said, look, you know, disability is not something that you are ever gonna get away from because when you get old enough, you're going to be disabled.
mhm.
So many people with disabilities are actually living your future life. So when we're thinking about the built environment or when we're thinking about products or doing anything like that, we actually should be thinking about our future selves.
Yeah.
That's the way I talk to people about it. And I say, this isn't about solving my problem today. This is about solving your problem in the future.
Oh, I like
So
that. Yeah.
we should, and that's often the way I look at even the situation right now. Is like a lot of people with disabilities have actually developed the capability to manage in a confined environment and
Yep.
solve problems in those environments and
They
know
do.
more about it than anyone else. So I've been helping a lot of people who are able-bodied go, oh, I'm freaking out because I'm stuck and all this stuff, right? And it's just
Cool.
it's not that hard to deal with, right? If you do these things.
Well, if they know you, are you doing consultant work then, or what kind of work are you doing?
Well, it's sort of like, well, I'm just after finishing with the firm I was working with because I actually spent in the last 5 years about, or the last 8 years, about 8 months of every year in China, in Shenzhen in China. So
Really?
I've been working in China and then I
Cool.
live in Ireland, but move over and back to China for the last however long. And
Wow.
with the way things have gone, obviously can't go back there. It's quite difficult. Um,
So you were working
but
over, were you designing in China as your job over
yeah,
there?
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Wow.
But then working remotely as well when I'm at home. So yeah, I think that like I just think about the intellectual horsepower that a lot of people with disabilities have.
Yeah,
That almost like
absolutely.
yeah, and COVID-19 I think is sort of levels the playing field to some degree. And we could use it as a way to sort of perpetuate this momentum um, by sort of looking at it as like, okay, now there is no excuse for people not to hire people with disabilities because there's loads of people working from home. Like, no,
Yeah,
you don't have any reason not to because you don't have to worry about all the crap that you would worried about by hiring a person
exactly.
with a disability,
You
right?
don't need an accessible business even,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which
It's
is
the
very
case.
true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're still doing what so you worked as all these past 15 years after your injury, you've just been still as working as an industrial engineer, which that's amazing. That's great.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, I went back to college after I had my accident. I was previously in the
Oh,
military.
oh, okay.
So I was in the Irish military. I served
Oh my
five
gosh.
5 years, and I was in Liberia
Wow.
just after the Civil War there,
Okay.
as part of my work with the military. And the accident then finished that. So that's how I ended
Oh,
up
I'm
doing
sorry.
industrial
Cool.
design.
So you transitioned into designer work. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome. So now, speaking of the COVID-19, this is kind of why I brought you on because we were going to talk about how our lives have all changed. And I know here in the US, we've been on lockdown since March. So what's it like over in Ireland right now? Are people able to go out and about or?
Well, we've been on lockdown since March as well,
Mhm.
but they've lifted some things, and relatively speaking, I think that I think that we're not doing too bad from the perspective that where I live, certainly we're able to get out 2 kilometers away from home for exercise, and it's a really green area
Oh,
in a small
cool.
town, so it's nice. And I think many people are within a nice place to go within 2 kilometers. It's actually it's gone out to 5 kilometers now. So
Okay.
I get out my hand bike and stuff like that, which is
Nice.
really nice. And we did have this craziness at the beginning. People were like bulk buying stuff, but there was no need for it.
That's good. I mean,
That kind of thing. Yeah, and it's just like I think that we've been very lucky for the last 6 weeks to have spectacular weather in Ireland, which is quite unusual to have that kind of weather for this length of time.
Yeah,
So
I
I
bet.
spend a lot of time in the garden. Yeah,
Oh,
so that kind of
nice.
stuff, you know.
So are you concerned as someone with a spinal cord injury about going out and about? Are you staying at home, or how worried are you personally about, getting the coronavirus and all that? Yeah.
Well, I think that it's like I think like I would be cautionary on a lot of this stuff as
Mhm.
well, but I think it's important to stay moving, which keeps your strength up,
Yeah. Yep.
and you have to stay healthy in case something did happen. So you have to try and strike that balance, right?
Yep.
Um, and it's just like I actually think it's funny. Another thing I was talking to some people about was like how sometimes if you're in a wheelchair or if you're using a mobility device, people always seem to stand away from you anyways, right?
They
So
do.
you nearly always have a 2 meter sort of like perimeter around you. People are afraid to catch disability, so they don't come near
Uh,
you.
it's so true.
Yeah,
It's either they're too close or they're too far away, isn't it? They're like
right.
on you,
Yeah,
like trying to hug you, or they're like they can't even
uh,
come by you. It's one or the other, I feel like. Really annoying.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
know that so are you wearing a mask at least when you go out, or are you just trying to
Well, here in Ireland, we haven't seen like it's not even something that they've recommended highly,
really?
and our numbers have been really, really low. Like, I mean, uh,
Cool.
70 new cases yesterday and 1 death,
That's not bad at
which
all.
is
Wow.
no, and they've been
Mhm.
constantly trending downwards. So,
That's
but
great.
what they have done, like, is being very cautious in reopening things, which I think has made a big difference. Like if people are not congregating or going to places where it's going to happen, you don't need to wear masks as much or anything like that. So yeah, it's not being. I think I think some of the guidelines they reckon here, like making sure you wash your hands all the time, which is very important if you're in a wheelchair, anyways.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
just things that we do anyways, right? So I think they're not the things that you have to do are not a stretch too far of a stretch from what many people with disabilities already have to do. So
Absolutely. Well, I
yeah,
know I was questioned just about, shopping and stuff over there. Are you guys,
Mhm.
is Target or Walmart even in Ireland? Where do you go to buy? Is there any big
uh,
box stores over there?
yeah, we've place called Tesco.
Tesco. Okay.
Yeah, there's some places German ones called Aldi and Lidl, and then there's some other ones as well.
Okay.
Um,
Do you go into those
yeah,
stores still and shop around, or?
yeah, yeah,
Good. Okay.
absolutely fine. Yeah, but they do a really good job on limiting the amount of people that come in and keep the social distancing as well.
Okay.
In fact, it's really interesting. Again, like from a designer perspective, I'm looking around at the way things are changing, and nothing. I don't think it's ever been as accessible as it is right now, because there
Really?
isn't crowds and there isn't people all over the place getting in the way, and there isn't all the things that would normally be a problem because people are keeping at a good distance. So it's I feel like if we can keep some of the things that have happened as a result of COVID-19, then the world will start to become more accessible.
Mm,
Um, and I think that,
yeah.
like,
Mhm.
imagine going into a restaurant where you don't have to get them to move 20 tables just so you can get in, right?
Oh my God, you're totally right about that. They can't squish in people at restaurants anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we can go to anywhere we want. We can sit
Mhm.
at any of the tables we want to. We can go to the supermarket and people won't be sitting on top of you when you're trying to get stuff, that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I tried to look at this as like everyone else is complaining about it. I'm thinking about actually it's never been more accessible, right?
That's fascinating. I didn't even think about it that way. I kind of don't like the plexiglass partitions they're putting up at all
Yeah.
the cashiers and stuff. It's
Mhm.
I don't know. That works pretty good. I'm always out with a helper that helps me when I go out in
Yeah,
public, but I do wonder if some of these things might make it a little trickier for someone that has, to try to hand stuff to someone or
yeah,
that's
yeah,
lower in a wheelchair. But I think you're right. Maybe in general, though, it might be for the
yeah.
more accessible. It's such a
I,
weird.
yeah, I wouldn't mind having to deal with some of those other, we'll say, a little bit more negative things to have a net positive of being able to sit at any table in a restaurant. That would be just, you know, that's just, I don't mind that trade,
Absolutely.
and yeah, and again, I think about, right, what's going to happen in the future, right? Are more people with like when we get a bit older and it's difficult to get around as well, like those places are more accessible to people too. So and I feel like there's going to be, like, I've been talking to some students that I oh, bless you.
Sorry, coughing.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're fine. Talking to some students that I've been teaching as well about, looking at design from the perspective that the product experiences that they're going to develop where people don't want to touch things anymore
Right.
means that they have to try and create products and experiences and interactions that do not require human input, or if they do require input, it might be an elbow or your wrist. So,
Right.
for example,
I would
yeah,
love that.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And the point I'm making is that
Mhm.
now, if all those interactions that people would normally use fingers for, or grip or anything like that,
Yeah.
become things where they do this or use their elbow,
Yeah.
it means
Mhm.
it's going to make it more accessible for us, right?
Totally.
So
Yeah.
I just think about,
Mhm.
like, can we use this as a way to a catalyst to make accessibility the norm, that we don't think about what we have to interact with, where we have to go, how, are we going to manage, because that's just the norm because COVID-19 has made it that way.
This is
So
great. Yeah.
yeah, just a different perspective on things, I suppose.
So true. I didn't even think about that, but especially in countries like yours, where maybe do you guys have a law that requires accessibility at all places? Yeah, but
Mm,
I imagine we do too, obviously. But I think you're right. This will probably force people to create more accessible
mm,
things without even realizing it. It's interesting.
yeah.
Crazy. Well, when you were designing in China, I was going to ask you, what kind of stuff do you design for when that you get paid to do?
Well, I used to be doing
Mhm.
things like health and wellness products and
Okay.
robotics,
Oh, really?
industrial automation, sensors, anything you could
Cool.
probably think of. I probably did some work
Really?
in that area. Yeah,
Have you ever used an exoskeleton before?
I did recently. I've used an exoskeleton. Yeah,
Really? How did it go?
and it was awesome, really cool. And again, I think it's one of those interesting things where how technology starts to become more ubiquitous
Yeah. Yeah.
as a result of costing down. And someone was saying to me, this thing is like $180,000 and people are never going to be able to
Right.
have them. I was like, I think you'd be surprised. Like once they find applications for industry or military, this technology will
Go
decrease in
down.
price so fast.
Yeah.
Um, and the gap will close between, we'll say, a very high-end wheelchair and the cost of an exoskeleton,
Yeah.
and the benefits to an individual for an extra $5,000, $10,000 to have an exoskeleton will just outweigh the justification of giving them a cheaper wheelchair.
Would you
So
would you use an exoskeleton over a wheelchair at this point?
I I think if I could get it to do some more things that I would want it to do, like some of the things that are a bit difficult about it is, like, if you were walking in a crowded street, there's no way you're going to be able to stop yourself falling over if someone bumped into you
Oh,
or things
really?
like that, right? So
Okay. Okay.
it's like for maybe 40 to 50% of everyday activity, yeah, like moving around my house or
Yeah.
going somewhere where I know there's not going to be a crowd, or just out for a walk in like
Yeah.
an area where it's less crowds, then fine. Yeah, I think would be great.
Is it possible to kneel down in an exoskeleton?
No, that's no.
No.
You just sit down and
There's
stand up,
no
and
kneeling.
it's like, oh,
That would require a
not yet.
whole new level of automation, right?
Well, a crazy amount of mechanical capability, and all sorts of different things. But I think you know, I don't think it's beyond the human capability to come up with these systems when there's an application that makes sense from a financial perspective. Again, it's something that I see a lot about when it comes to design, and people ask me, "Have you thought about this or you thought about that?"
Uh-huh.
And I have to put my sort of entrepreneurial brain into gear and go, well, does it make sense from a financial perspective? Because it doesn't matter if it's a good idea. If someone doesn't make money, it's not going to get off the ground. So we need to figure out like where is the meeting point between the technology and how it makes some money to get somewhere, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. What exoskeleton brand did you have an opportunity
Uh,
to use?
Exobionics.
Oxybionics, yep, that's the one over
Yeah,
here in the US.
yeah.
So, as a designer, I'm just curious, what kind of wheelchair do you like, and or what kind do you use?
Well, I'm using a GTM. No, I had a GTM before. The one I have right now is O Racing. It's a Spanish company.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah,
So
I heard about them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But and I've always had one with a suspension unit on the back because to stop the vibration and impact.
Cool, cool.
It's always a little bit heavier, but I prefer to have like a little bit of comfort over the lightweight.
Okay,
So that's what I'm using at the moment.
awesome.
Yeah.
Do you use the automated or push assist wheels, or do you just push yourself?
I'll just push myself. Yeah, at the moment. Yeah, I'll keep
Great.
going till I can't go. You know, so it's.
That's great. You can do that on your own. I wish I could push myself. So
Uh,
it sounds like, I brought you on the show to talk about coronavirus and everything, but I didn't realize Ireland was doing so good over there. So I'm glad that you guys don't have many cases. I do feel, so I guess before I let you go, I guess I'm curious about your plans this summer. What are you doing now that you guys think it'll be locked down all summer? Or are you just getting back to normal life? Can't go to China,
uh,
of course, to work.
yeah. Well, not for the time being.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like for me, it's been a very, very busy, maybe last 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really liking this decompression moment where
Okay. Mhm.
I don't have to rush off somewhere. I don't have to go back to China. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do
It
that.
feels good, yeah, to
Yeah,
relax.
I'm enjoying life at home. I don't know if that's like how everyone in the house feels about me being home all the time, but like I'm enjoying being home. Uh, and
Mhm.
I think we'll be I think we're going to live with some residual impact of coronavirus for quite some time,
Mhm.
but I think we're going to be probably close to getting out of lockdown. I think it's going to be completely at the end of July.
Okay.
But we're in Ireland. We're doing it like in phases, just to make
Right.
sure that we don't take a step back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you are really cool. I would love to visit Ireland one day, and if I ever come over there, what city should I visit, by the way? What's the most accessible place to go?
Oh, I think that Dublin, there's quite a lot of accessibility in
Mhm.
some parts. But you know what you do, just
Mhm.
before you do come over, let me know what you want to see. I think it would
Okay.
be worthwhile
Mhm.
if you get someone going with you to
Yeah.
just get in a car and drive around a bit. Go to
Yeah.
some different towns and see the countryside and get out to some of the national monuments and
Was it
some
you
of the
that
historical
mentioned,
buildings.
did you talk about Mizzen Head recently online, or was it somebody else? Mizzen Head, Ireland.
Wasn't me. No, no.
Someone else I know paralyzed. He's like, it's too hot. I'm going to Mizzen Head, he said.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
that, and I had to Google it, and it's like, oh, there's so many cool places in Ireland. One
yeah,
day I'm going to buy a Groupon. I'm going to get my butt over there on a cheap plane
yeah.
ticket. Because I don't know if anyone can travel this year, though. I don't think it's going to be happening,
Uh,
but this is
yeah,
really
it's going to be a
crazy.
little bit difficult for a while. But I mean, I
Mhm,
think that
mhm,
it, fundamentally, actually, again, when I think about airlines, the way they're going to have to change how to handle people, they're going to have to handle each individual more effectively. And I think the residual impact means that they're actually going to have to handle people with disabilities in a more human way. Because I felt like before that, you know, when I go and I travel, it's always like all
mhm.
these questions, and I don't mind answering them, but
Yeah,
there's a number attached to you. You're treated as a unit rather than an individual, right?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think that the funny thing about everything now is everyone's going to have to go through a procedure of a check before they go on a flight.
You're
So
right.
they're all going to have to face the same thing. So I think that what'll happen is they'll because it's just a numbers game now. they'll have to make that as frictionless as possible, which will end up being a little bit less friction for people with disabilities as well.
You're right. See, another bonus for us in the end.
Yeah,
Traveling may be easier.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyways, if not easier, it'll be harder for everyone else. So that's
so they can relate to what we're going through, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. At least it'll be equal opportunity hell when we travel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, this has been very, very interesting. I've never spoken to someone this at length from Ireland, I have to tell you. So I'm just tickled over here. I would love to travel and see you and your people one day over there. This has been really cool. I'm glad that yeah, it's cool that we met via Spinalpedia. So thank you again, Noel.
Yeah.
Cool. And
Awesome.
stay have a good summer despite everything, and good have fun hand cycling, all that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll
keep
see you
putting
later.
Photos and images up. See you. Bye.
Okay. See you later. Bye. All right. Hey, everybody. So we are joined by Misty Dawn Piker, and she has a spinal cord injury. And I know she's been going through some health problems, and we've asked her to join us to talk about her quarantine and how that's been going, and just about, life with a spinal cord injury. So, hey, Misty, welcome to the show. So where are you coming from? I forget where you live.
South Bend, Indiana. So about 90 miles from Chicago.
Okay, South Bend. Is that a pretty big town?
That's about 100,000.
Okay, that's pretty big. That's
pretty
big. So are you born and raised Hoosier girl?
I'm an Army girl.
Army. So that means you moved all around the country or something like that? Oh my God.
Yeah.
That must have been crazy. And so, yeah, that's quite cool. So you're from Indiana, and I think, now I don't know your level of injury, so why don't you inform everybody about us?
I am a T9, T10 paraplegic due to transverse myelitis, but my transverse myelitis is complicated by EDS, which is Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome.
Oh gosh! Now, what exactly is the latter of the two, the Ehlers-Danlos? That one's kind of complicated.
So Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a connective tissue disorder. Yep. I can't remember what my subset is of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is, because it's been. Like, my parents were both carriers for EDS.
Oh, wow.
So I was kind of like the genetic kind of predisposition. I was like, oh, thanks, Mom and Dad.
Were you diagnosed with it pretty early on in life?
No, actually, I have to go sideways because my headphones are plugged in.
Okay.
Yeah. No, actually, and I didn't know until after I was on Medicare, and Medicare doesn't pay for genetic testing. And then I have 5 cousins on my dad's side and several on my mom's side that are all diagnosed. And I'm like,
wow, that's common.
Medicare will pay for me to see the geneticist, will not pay for me to be tested.
That makes no sense. What a silly rule.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it is what it is.
So, so what's your mobility like from these two conditions?
So I've been a manual chair user for about 10 years, but so I've made the decision through Voc Rehab to transition to the power chair. And
that's a big decision.
I thought I'd get at least 20 years before I had to, but I dislocated my shoulder to the point where it actually ruptured my bicep tendon up the top.
Oh my God.
Which helps hold your shoulder in place, which is the reason for the sling, because it won't stay in the socket anymore.
Oh my God. Why? Now, is that just from years of overuse?
Yeah. Like I played sports and I didn't know I was genetically predisposed to the EDS. So I didn't know. So had I known you know, hindsight being 2020, I probably wouldn't have played sports.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Well, what sports did you play at least? I'm kind of curious.
Able-bodied, I did like track and field, you know,
Cool.
that kind of thing. And then I've played wheelchair basketball. I do adaptive water ski. I
Okay.
am wheelchair basketball, wheelchair tennis.
And basketball, there's a lot of shoulder movements, and I mean, you're pushing, and you're constantly. It's a lot. So, how many years did you play for?
I still play when I can.
Okay. It's so fun, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I play when I can. So.
That's crazy. So, okay, so now they got the sling on you. How well will this work over time? Is it going to heal enough so you don't need to wear it?
They're saying surgery, but with coronavirus being, I'm being immunocompromised. We're immunocompromised just having spinal cord injuries ourselves.
Right. I know.
And then the transverse myelitis and the EDS are genetic issues. So that's another. So I have to wait. I cannot have.
Oh my God.
I have to wait until it's safe for me to have surgery.
Okay.
And my shoulder surgeon, he said, I don't want to do the shoulder surgery and then plop you right back into a manual chair, because that's basically me doing
re-injure.
He said you're immediately going to re-injure it.
Could you get those like free? What are those little motors on the back of your manual chair?
Yeah, I have a smart drive that was given to me
Okay.
by a family just to borrow until I get my own.
Is it helping?
Except I can't get my DME to train me because it's not mine, because it is a liability issue.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. That's not cool.
So.
All right.
So,
well, so you can't, are you trying to not use your shoulder that much right now?
Yeah, I'm trying. And then, but my right shoulder is also, the whole thing that started this was my right shoulder was weak. So I started overusing my left.
Oh shit, this is the worst. I know I have upper mobile. I use my wrist for everything, and I've screwed my arm up from using my right hand over the 27 years I've been like this myself. It really sucks because there's nothing we can do about it, right? You need to use your shoulders to do everything during the day.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
my Lord.
Luckily I have concrete floors that are just painted.
That's
so
good.
I can,
nice.
And I have a studio. So like, literally my bedroom is right here and this is my living room.
Okay, so you're not going that far.
You know, so like my it's a studio, so my kitchen's there, my bedroom's there, and this is my living room. And
don't go on any bar pushes outside the house either right now.
No, and like it's just I haven't gone anywhere without a mask. Like I went outside twice.
Okay.
Like I'm on the first floor. Like the building brings me my mail. Like I get my
really. So you haven't left your house and you've only left 2 times.
Okay. Let's see. Once for a medical appointment, and everything else has been virtual.
Oh, nice.
I had an EMG, so I had to see me for that.
Yeah, they can't do that at home, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I literally live right next door to the hospital.
Oh, convenient. What?
Like,
I like that. You can just roll over there, I guess, right? You don't have to take a car.
No, I literally live. I'm like, and the nurse and the doctor was like, we have to figure out how to get her here because we could literally throw a rock at her apartment building.
Man, I would just go over there and have some lunch or dinner because, you know, some of those cafeteria dinners aren't that bad. I kind of have to say hospital food can be good certain nights. That's funny.
Yeah, they're not doing the open air cafeteria right now. Like,
of course they're not.
It's like lunch. It's like lunchbox.
Lord mercy. I don't.
It's
this is so
not
weird.
as good as it used to be.
Okay. Well, maybe one day. Okay. So this has been. So you're at home a lot. So do you have? Are you letting any family or friends into your place right now?
I don't have family that live near me.
Oh.
So my closest family's 3 hours away.
Oh, that's too bad. Okay.
Which is, you know, It's not good and it's not bad. I don't have a great relationship with my family, but it's not. I'm working on it. Like, yeah, I'm working on it.
Well, okay. So I hope you're not too lonely over there. Do you at least have a couple people hanging out with you?
I do. So one of my former coworkers, I used to work for the sheriff's department as an intern, as a college intern, and so they've been kind of checking on me.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. So in the sheriff's department, that's kind of cool. Now, what do you do for a job? I know you're working from home.
So I am working from home. I'm working through the Ticket to Work program. So through Voc Rehab, I'm at the point where we're getting ready to get me back into the workforce. But I'm also a brand ambassador for Compact Cath.
Awesome.
So that's the catheter that's in the wheel.
Yeah. Let me see it. Let's show it. Let's might as well have you on. Yeah.
Here, just a second. We've got to go get one.
So this is good for everyone listening on iTunes. They need to go on to YouTube now and they can see the video, because they're not going to be able to see this unless they go to the YouTube.
I have to go into the bathroom to get.
All right, this is good. We're getting some action video.
There we go. There we go. As I crash into everything. And then now this catheter was actually created at Stanford University.
Okay.
Yeah. By catheter users.
Oh, that's always cool when they use people's input. You gotta like that. Is it one of those straight caths?
It is straight cath. It's pre-lubricated actually by silicone oil.
That's
and
nice.
medical grade silicone oil is has natural antimicrobial properties.
Oh,
and
it's kind of cool. So it kills stuff, is what you're saying. It kills bacteria.
Yes, and it's not jelly like lube and it's not really super slick like hydrophilic. And so it's
that's pretty cool. Compact cath, huh? So how many do you have to use it, throw it away, obviously.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So I just started using the new version. So this is the light that I'm going to show you. Here, you can get the whole. This is the original version. I don't have the original version.
Oh, wow. It does look like a wheel. That's so weird. Cool.
Yeah.
And you pull on it?
Yeah. And you pull it out, and then so they have three different.
Cool design. Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the the pros of having that circular design? Like, what does it have?
It's very ergonomic, and so the light is actually created for limited dexterity as well.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So it has a really they taught me how to do this at a trade show, the Abilities Expo.
Oh yeah, let's see.
So that I could show other people with limited dexterity how to open it. I'm like, well, you need to show me how to open it. And it has like a little.
What a crazy design! I've been around for many years. I have never seen a catheter like that before.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And then, so it comes off of the wheel like this.
Very cool. Very cool. Love it. And then there it is. You take it out.
And it's completely covered. So, and the silicone, what I learned, silicone oil actually stays on the product. It doesn't get on your hands.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So do you help promote these like online, or at Abilities Expos? Do you go in person too?
Yeah, Abilities Expo.
That's cool. And plus you use them in real life, so it must feel good to talk about it, that you're actually liking the product. I always
they just since this is the hub and it's a different funnel end. Hang on, I'm gonna get it in. It's a different funnel end, so they just sent me some extension tubes to try, and so I will be.
So does insurance cover these and stuff?
Yes, Medicaid and Medicare cover them 100%. Yes.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Cool.
And so everybody can get more information at
I
compactcath.com.
was about to ask, Compact Catholic. Well, very cool. They probably send out free samples, I bet, right?
Yes, they do. You can call and just tell them that Misty Piker gave you the information. So
Awesome sauce. Well, you know what? That's cool. I think a lot of people, when they're paralyzed, they have no idea what kind of catheters to start using.
yeah,
They just use
everybody, they're usually shoved into one, and they're shoved into one with usually just a kit.
Yep.
And yep. And so, like, you know,
Cool.
I probably have like 8 boxes of kits, and I'm like, I don't use these.
So are you doing this job as your full-time ticket to work job? Or what's your
no,
other job?
this is so I am a volunteer usher and ticket taker at our local theater, and
Cool.
we actually had the Lion King, the national showing of Lion King, and we were 10 shows into a 24 show run, and we had our first COVID case, and then it was March 10th, and on the 11th we got shut down.
That's very sad.
It would have been show 11 of 24, and I was halfway to work, and I live literally 2 blocks from the theater.
This is like a perfect setup for you. You live by a hospital, by your job, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And so you were actually, were you a ticket, you were there in your chair, just working the auditorium?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I know, I one time saw another paraplegic years ago work. There's not many people in wheelchairs though that do your profession, is there?
No.
No, I don't.
No. But all the other ushers, they love me. So like even the Disney people, they're like, I don't think we've ever met another usher in a wheelchair, but we love seeing you out here.
It's good. That's good. Well, when do you think they're going to get back to work? Is there any time?
I know the show has been postponed, but the trailer's still there. But I don't. It says it's been canceled, but that doesn't. But they still have the contract to bring the show back, so I don't know.
This is so sad. Oh man,
it is. But they promised to bring the show back, so
okay, that's good. Well, so what else are you doing now to stay busy while you're at home? Are you doing any other? I don't know.
Doing virtual. The basketball team and hockey teams are meeting virtually every Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're meeting virtually.
That's kind of cool. So what do you guys talk?
Yeah, we've just been talking and hanging out. So I think this week we're going to kind of start doing a board game virtually. Like one of our players came up with the idea to just him control the pieces on the game and everybody else have their own die. And
fun.
Something to write on to keep track of where they're at.
I love this idea. I love board games. Which are the board games you're considering?
He has a short list. He's supposed to let me know, so we'll find out.
I like Risk. I'm going to say you should do Monopoly or Risk.
I think Monopoly and Risk and some different versions of Trivial Pursuit are on there.
Fun, guys. Well, that sounds like a good idea. You got to stay busy with these Zoom meetings and stuff, and just that's the one thing.
So I had to learn how to do Zoom on the fly.
Well, you're doing it right now. You're doing it awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, well, I just read an article before I logged on with you about this paraplegic in the UK, and she's liking the quarantine, the lockdown, because she said there's all these things available online now that they weren't before.
Yeah, I know.
Like front and center theater seats, like, because you can see shows now. They'll do like these virtual seating kind of things.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of crazy. And then I was like, yeah, but I still want things to get back to normal, though. I do. I can't wait. So what do you miss the most other than probably working?
I think people. I am majorly extroverted, and our gyms are starting to reopen. But the courts are still closed here in Indiana, sports courts, because it's not really possible to play wheelchair basketball and socially distance with masks.
Oh no.
And I know I also have asthma, so
it's hard to wear those.
It's really hard to wear any type of mask with asthma.
I have a hard time as a quadriplegic because I have limited breathing, and so when I keep that mask on, I feel like I can't breathe. But
it's like I start having I feel like I start having a panic attack because I already can't breathe, and then
it sucks that you guys can't play though. So what are you gonna? You just have to wait till there's a vaccine, I imagine.
Yeah, I assume so. Or I think Indiana, they're doing a 5-stage plan.
Okay.
And we're in stage 3, but I just don't see how it's going to work because my county, our cases keep going up. Yeah.
Which is a sad thing. I know. I don't like these cases going up. I just talked to a paraplegic in Ireland, and they only had 1 death yesterday. That's it. 77 cases only. How are other countries doing so much better than ours?
So I heard this was Pete Buttigieg was my former mayor.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So, and I know him. He's like a neighbor.
No way.
He lives like, I know him personally.
I wonder how he's doing.
He's played wheelchair basketball with my team.
No way.
That's how that's the kind of person he is. Like when he was mayor, he came and played wheelchair basketball. Like, and it wasn't something he did as a political thing. He did it because I was like, come play with us, please.
You did.
And then I ended up in the hospital, so they FaceTimed me.
No way. Oh, you weren't even there, and it was your idea. God damn it.
It was my idea.
You need to do a replay with him. That's cool. I really liked him. I was very sad. I wasn't like on the Pete Buttigieg train per se, but I liked what he was talking about.
Yeah, and he didn't like people are always like slamming. What do you think about people with disabilities? Like one of his main people was Emily Vorty, and she has OI.
Oh,
and I've known her
really?
for
yeah, cool.
Yeah, she's on Twitter. She's like one of his main followers, and she's pretty amazing. So, but a grim reminder is with the cases, the deaths in the U.S. at 105,000.
Yeah,
that is the city of South Bend being snuffed out.
Isn't that just? I mean, I know that's a really good analogy.
That was the analogy that was used, and it was used on the state and national scale. And just to hear that was just like that. Wow. That was a very grim. It was just grim. Like that is my city.
I know.
Gone.
There's a lot of people. It's a lot. It's too many people. I agree. It's very sad, and I don't know when the numbers are going to stop. I really thought by now we'd get a hold on the situation, huh? But it doesn't seem to be happening. I'm a little bit worried about the reopening as well. I think we'll have to see as the summer goes on. I don't know what's going to happen here. Here in Minnesota, we're on June 1st, we're able to do outdoor dining only, 25% capacity. Today it starts, but no one, of course, wants to open because of all the rioting and looting happening around here. It's just crazy. Yeah. But we're hoping that some things get back to normal here soon.
And it's happening all over the country now. So
very, very, very scary. I know. Very, very tough time here in the country. And I do hope that we do have some changes legislative for police, but the whole other topic. Oh man, it's been difficult. But I do, maybe we'll see some change here. But it's sad. I don't know. George Floyd, RP George Floyd. So what else? I just feel with this whole world kind of going crazy right now, I do feel like sometimes coming together with people like yourself, it does help. I probably wouldn't have been chatting with you if it wasn't for this, and I would have been on Twitter for all these years. So this is kind of, I don't know. But so, do you have any parting words to make us feel a little bit better about the situation while I eat some bacon right here?
I'm vegetarian.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm like eating as I'm talking.
No, So for me, I think self-care has been huge. Making sure you take care of yourself, keeping a schedule. That has been the top 2 things, I think, for me personally through all of this, because I have been quarantined since March 11th.
Oh God, I know it's a very long time. We're going on 3 months here in like less than 10 days, Yeah,
I know. My birthday's coming up June 10th, and that's literally I'll be 36.
Happy early birthday.
And that's literally the day before. It'll be 3 months on my birthday.
Okay. All right, you got to figure out something to do fun there at your place. I don't know what. I hope
one of the bartenders that I work with at the theater, his birthday's the day before, so I think he's going to come down and we're going to socially distance, have a drink.
I like that.
He's gonna make a drink. He's not gonna let me drink just some sissy drink.
What are you gonna drink then? What kind of drink is considered a good drink in your world, Missy?
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Well, I hope margaritas are always a good option if you don't know what to do. Those are always good. So.
Well, he knows I'm not a beer drinker, so there you go.
All right. Well, so I hope that you keep healing here with your shoulder. Thank you for sharing, a little insight into how your life's going out there in Indiana.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their own little bubble, I feel like, right now. So it's really good to connect.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely. So good luck. And I hope, golly gee whiz, when I talk to you next, maybe theaters will be open again. I don't know. But
yeah, I know. I know. Our next show is Marion High School's graduation. I really hope those kids get to walk across that stage. And it's the only show that's still scheduled, and it's been rescheduled like 3 times. I'm like, those kids better get to walk across that stage, even if it's socially distanced.
I really hope they can. When is that going to happen?
It's supposed to be at the end of July.
End of July, sorry. Okay. Well, let's hope that happens.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, thank you so much, Misty. Yeah. I will talk to you later, okay?
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.